All right, guys. We are looking at avoiding violent behaviors and resources for help. Um, it's going to be the topic of our discussion. Um, so, just a little bit of information. Conflict can be inevitable when we interact with others. By handling conflict in a helpful way, we can actually learn how to communicate better. However, dealing with conflict through violence is unacceptable, disrespectful, and against the law. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to identify the reasons that people engage in violent behaviors and resources for help. As you see here on this slide, conflicts haven't really changed. The problem is that now people solve them in different ways. so, um, looking at some possible causes for somebody to punch, kick, stab, or fire a gun at someone else, or even him or herself. Uh, Here are some factors that might be included: media, substance abuse or gangs, unemployment, weapons, poverty, peer pressure, broken homes, such as like a poor family environment, bad neighborhoods, and intolerance or ignorance, which is merely the inability to recognize what's going on around them. So those are, factors that could lead. And going on to the next, we won't really look at do you agree or disagree because it's kind of hard to do that because we're not in class. All right, so some violent behavior is acting with or characterized by great physical force so as to injure, damage, or destroy. When thinking of the causes of violence, there are no easy answers and probably no one single cause. Some experts argue that there are biological reasons. They believe some people have genes or a chemical makeup that make them more likely to be violent. Others blame social problems such as poverty, discrimination, lack of hope, the breakdown of family values, child abuse, or drug and alcohol addictions. Finally, some point to cultural factors such as the amount of violence portrayed in the media. It is impossible to determine only one cause of violence. The list is overwhelming, but the good news is that violence is a learned behavior. Like all learned behavior, it can be changed. This isn't easy, though. There is no single cause of violence. There is not one simple solution. The best you can do is learn to recognize the warning signs of violence and how to get help when you observe them with your friends. Some other factors, like we discussed earlier, can be peer pressure, um, need or want for respect, childhood abuse or neglect, witnessing violence, and even easy access to weapons. Um, Normally, when people act violently, they have trouble controlling their feelings. Others may have hurt them. Some may want to make people fear them through violence or threats, and they think it'll solve their problems. This isn't necessarily true. People who behave violently lose respect. They find themselves isolated or disliked, which when isolation means to be by themselves, and they feel real angry or frustrated. And their view of the world um, may go downhill. They may have a short temper. They may get around more violent crowds. They may partake in drugs. They may announce that they plan to hurt somebody. They may even hurt an animal. I mean, it's a long list of possibilities. As you see here, just for you to study, the bullying, hazing, dating violence, sexual assault, family violence, and verbal abuse are just a couple examples that I'm putting here in the slide. But more so, what you need to know is what I've already said throughout this video so far. Um, so think of some examples of violent behavior that we just discussed. I want you to write down at least 3 to help you for your quiz. Okay, moving on. So, what causes someone to punch, kick, or use a weapon against someone else? We can learn more about this at wordle.net. It's just an easy website for you guys to log on to and kind of understand more about what's going on. Um, it's kind of crazy everything that can be involved, but I think this is a pretty good resource. Um, some other possible causes of violence include genetic predispositions, which that means that you were born with possible chemical imbalance in your brain. Social problems such as poverty, discrimination, child abuse, lack of family values, drug and alcohol addictions, cultural factors, violence portrayed in the media. Um, I feel that is those are the big issues. That's why I kind of just highlighted them here, as opposed to everything that I have talked about so far. But those really hit hard there. With that media influence I was talking about earlier. So games are present in 83% of homes with children. 94% of games rated by the video game industry um, uh, are as appropriate for teens as described are containing violence, and ratings by independent researchers suggest that real percentage may even be higher. So think about when you're playing video games and what they're really trying to do or show you to do. Is it positively affecting your life? Um, Obviously, Call of Duty, it's a big one. I think we've all played it at some point. That depicts violence, and you identify the aggressor to interact with other characters, and through aggression, you act on that violent behavior of killing another soldier. Violence in music lyrics. It's in a lot of music we listen to, guys. Evidence suggests that songs with violent lyrics increase aggression related to thoughts and emotions. So you listen to a song about beating somebody up that's done you wrong, or shooting them, or doing something mean to their family. That could be factors that lead you to doing something wrong. So I know it might sound silly, but it's good to stay clear of those things. And like it says at the bottom, repeated exposure can develop to an aggressive personality, and it could affect you in your social groups, even not even people that are doing you wrong. Like you have a small argument or disagreement with a friend, and it could escalate quickly. Um, here's just a couple possibilities here. The Miranda Lambert song "Kerosene." If you want to look that one up, that's a country song. It's about a female that her boyfriend has cheated on her, and she's talking about burning the house down with him inside of it. So that's kind of bad. Violence on TV. It's all over the place. It's what sells. It's what Hollywood thinks we're most interested in because you know what? America is interested in violence. Cop TV shows, arguing on reality TV. It's crazy. So think about the next time you're sitting there watching a TV show. Are they trying to portray something positive that's gonna, do good for your life? What are we really seeing here? Um, so some causes, it's difficult to determine the strongest predictor and exclusive cause of violent behavior. However, like all learned behavior, it can be changed. So factors which contribute to violent behavior, on reiterating what we said earlier, is peer pressure, need for attention, early childhood abuse or neglect, witnessing violence at home, in the community, or in the media, and easy access to weapons. Some immediate warning signs of violence: pattern of anger or loss of temper, frequent physical aggression, significant vandalism or property damage, increased use of drugs or alcohol, detailed plans to commit acts of violence, announcing threats or plans for hurting others, and also carrying a weapon. So here's some potential for violence that exists if you observe the following signs over time. So I'm going to give you just a second to read through these. Okay, so you should have read all those. If not, you do have these slides posted on our Canvas module. So some ways to respond. Don't spend time alone with people who show warning signs. Tell someone you trust and respect about your concerns, maybe a family member, a teacher, counselor, police officer, maybe even a coach like me. Report any threats, electronic, verbal, or physical confrontation. Electronic meaning they could talk to you on social media and express the possibility of physical harm coming to you. So here's some resources for help. 911, school counselors, school administrators, teachers, school resource officers like Officer Bravo, coaches like me and Coach Harper, faith leaders, local police departments, and local domestic violence shelters. So today we looked at factors which contribute to violence within our lives and identified resources within our communities that might help us avoid violent behaviors. I hope this was great for you guys. I hope you learned something. I hope you do really great on the quizzes. Make sure you email me if anybody needs